Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Heartland Farm for this week's episode of The Toy, The Real McCoy. Thanks for joining us again, and again, we ask that you share these videos if you would, and for sharing it, we'll throw your name in the hat, and we'll draw the name out for us to send you a hat and a t-shirt for your active participation and for sharing. I promise you that next week we will go back to tractors. This week we had something interesting that we wanted to do, and it's going to be multifaceted. It's got a lot of interest to a diverse number of collectors and interests in the world. So before we get into that, I do want to say thank you for all those that shared. Last week's episode was about the Venerable International Scout, and for everybody that shared the video, we throw in your name in a hat. We're going to shake it up, and we're going to, for the first time, draw the name publicly and ask you to post on our Facebook page how to get a hold of you, and then we will send you a hat and a shirt in your size. So Lindy Benally is the winner. Lindy Benally is the winner from last week sharing the International Scout. So if you would get us your information, we will make sure you're appropriately paid off with a hat and a shirt, and thanks again. So without any further delay, this will be one of the first times I don't have a toy to go with the real McCoy. So I've come as close as I can today, folks. This is a 59 GMC 100 step-side four-wheel drive pickup. This is a beautiful little die-cast truck in 1/24th scale. It's as close to the real McCoy as I've got. This one, you'll notice, got some awesome detail. It's got some similarities to today's real McCoy, but it's not exact. You'll see under the hood is a V8 powered GMC, and that engine is actually a Pontiac V8 because that's who GMC used in their trucks of the late 50s, was from another version of General Motors. You'll see the beautiful wood-styled bed. This is a really nice little truck, fully detailed interior with a 4-speed transmission, much like the real McCoy that we're going to be looking at here in just a couple of minutes. So, in post-war America, as returning troops from World War II came back, they realized the benefits of four-wheel drive. Dodge had been a major producer of four-wheel drives for the United States military during World War II. And when the GIs came home, they decided that they wanted something just like what they had when they were overseas or on maneuvers here in the United States in the Dodge military four-wheel drives. So Dodge jumped right at it and started immediately offering a civilian Dodge Power Wagon with factory four-wheel drive that you could buy from your local Dodge dealer. The only other domestic company that offered four-wheel drive trucks right off the dealer lot was International Harvester, and you could get International pickups with four-wheel drive from the late 40s all through the 50s. Well, General Motors didn't want to be left out, so in 1956 through 1959, they started offering a factory four-wheel drive just for a short amount of time. And this is a replica of one of those with factory four-wheel drive. At this point, we're going to move over to the real McCoy. This is a 1958 Chevy Apache Model 38. This is a 1-ton four-wheel drive truck with a NAPCO four-wheel drive conversion. NAPCO was the Northwestern Auto Parts Company based out of Minneapolis, Minnesota, and they offered a four-wheel drive kit delivered anywhere in the United States for your Chevy or GMC pickup or 1-ton for the big sum of $995. Sounds like a heck of a bargain, but when a half-ton pickup in those days cost $1,500, it was a substantial investment to make it four-wheel drive. But the unique thing about a NAPCO front-wheel or four-wheel drive conversion is that it all came in a wooden crate, shipped prepaid to you for $995, and it could be installed in 3 to 4 hours by the average mechanic. That's pretty amazing. You only had to drill 4 more holes in the truck to install it. It came with a new front axle, came with a 2-speed transfer case, came with the appropriate drive shaft and linkages, and with a little bit of common mechanical knowledge and a good toolbox, you could put it in about 3 hours. They did, from 1956 to 59, offer it as a factory option through your Chevy or GM dealer. I've been unable to ascertain if this one came down the assembly line with the NAPCO in it or not. We do have a second NAPCO four-wheel drive fire truck that we're going to do another time. It's going to appeal to a whole different interest of collectors besides the fire people at that point. So this little truck has got a very interesting story. I happen to love, by now you figured it out, anything with four-wheel drive. And so back in 2012, I was on eBay searching four-wheel drive fire trucks, as I do from time to time, and this little beauty showed up on there. Well, I was immediately in love. I'm not a big Chevrolet guy, but it was a four-wheel drive fire truck, and it was a really, really unique truck when I looked at it. It had a buy it now price that was way beyond what I could pay, but the auction was active, and so I put in a bid on it, and I bid on it for a few days, and then all of a sudden, long before the auction was to end, it disappeared. So I emailed the seller and I asked him to call me, and he did. And I said, hey, what happened to the Chevy fire truck? And he said, oh, a guy bought it. He goes, paid the buy it now price. I said, oh, darn. I said, well, had my heart set on it, but obviously I wasn't willing to pay that much. So if something happens and he doesn't follow through on the sale, please let me know. He goes, oh, that ship already sailed. He overnighted me a check, and I've already sent him out the title to it. So I said, well, I understand, and kind of went away a little bit sad. In the process of looking at this truck on eBay, an old friend of mine, Bobby Johnson, who was a City of Glens Falls paid firefighter, was in the dealership buying some parts. And I said, Bobby, come around behind the counter and look at this fire truck. And I showed it to him. And old Bob, he really got very excited and started telling me some of the history of this truck. He goes, you don't even realize what you're looking at right there. I go, yeah, I do. It's a NAPCO four-wheel drive 58 Chevy. He goes, that's not the important part. He says, the importance is in the back. And I said, really, and how? So I'll get into that in just a minute. We got the, kind of went away upset because we didn't get the little truck bought. And curiously enough, about 2 weeks later, a gentleman from Scottsdale, Arizona, who had the truck advertised on eBay, called me up and he said, hey, Tim, you still interested in that fire truck? And I said, I am. And I said, what happened? And he says, well, craziest thing, this guy that bought it lives in Texas. He owns one of these airfields where you can fly your airplane in privately and taxi it right up to your home. And apparently there's 200 homes, and everybody's got a little hangar for their plane right at their house. And this guy owns this whole facility, and he is trying to decorate his main hangar with some 50s vintage vehicles, and this fire truck was one of them. Well, he said he kind of lost interest in it. His connections for trucking didn't work out, and he was having a big open house there, and the truck did not get transported in time, and he's lost interest, and he wondered if I had a backup bidder. And I said, well, I appreciate that, but I just wasn't able to pay that price. He goes, here's the crazy part. He's willing to take what you paid, what you offered on your high bid when it was still in auction. I said, my gosh, he's going to lose, a substantial amount of money on that. He said, he doesn't care. He's lost interest in the truck, and he's willing to sell it. So be that as it may, I called the gentleman. He sent me the title. I sent him the check, and we brought this little truck home from Scottsdale, where we're still sitting, and it never went to Texas. Well, we get it here, and we realize what a diamond in the rough we've got. She's only got 4,303 original miles. This truck was sold, that'll back up on where it was sold. Come on over here, Dave. This little truck that I bought in Scottsdale, Arizona is nearly home. It was made by the Blitz Buggy Company of Old Forge, New York. Well, that caught my interest, but old Bobby Johnson had filled me in on this a little bit. He knew the lineage of these little mini pumpers like no one else. And he said, listen, there's a guy named Army Armstrong who, when he got out of the United States military after World War II, came home and embarked on a design for mini fire trucks for small airports and rural fire departments with unimproved roads and things like that. And he started 3 different companies. One of them was called the High Pressure Fog Company, which was based in Old Forge, New York. And they patented this name, the Blitz Buggy, and made these little fire trucks. So as Bob's telling me about all this stuff, he says, I've got a friend who knows even more about them than I did. And he said, his name is Paul Court. So that summer, Bobby brought Paul Court from New Jersey. Paul's a retired fire chief from down there, and he's since passed away as well, up here to the farm, and we sat and had a nice visit, and he taught me all about this. But Paul has authored a book on the history of the Blitz Buggy fire apparatus. And there weren't many of them made. I believe there was 38 Blitz Buggies made up in Old Forge. Now, those of you that snowmobile and go to Old Forge or travel up on 28N going down towards Boonville, the Woodsman's Field Days or whatever, might notice an old place just 2 miles west of Old Forge called Thendara Garage. Thendara Garage was owned by the Brussels brothers, And they were the people that had the shop that made these Blitz Buggy fire trucks. And coincidental as it is, Mr. Robert Brussels and his brother Al Brussels have been out here to see this truck and have autographed my book. And they're both living and in their 90s. One lives in Old Forge, the other lives in just outside Syracuse in Baldwinsville, New York. And I hope that we gave them notice yesterday. I hope both of them are watching this today. This is a very unique little truck. It's got Adirondack history. It's got General Motors history. I'm now going to tell you where the truck was delivered new. This truck was sold new to go to the Euclid Construction Equipment Plant in Cleveland, Ohio in 1958. Special order for them to be a facility fire truck. Euclid went on to be owned by General Motors, and this is as close to Euclid toys as I could come up with this afternoon. But General Motors renamed the Euclid division Terex, and they made heavy construction equipment there at the Hudson Avenue plant in Cleveland. And this was their facility fire truck because they had a proving ground there. So if one of the pieces of equipment was out on test and happened to catch fire, this was how they went out to take care of it. This is a very unique, original Blitz Buggy. It is, without question, the nicest condition surviving Blitz Buggy of all that have ever been made. It's powered by a super powerful 235 Thriftmaster 6-cylinder engine that develops a whopping 145 horsepower, backed up by a Muncie 4-speed transmission and a NAPCO 4-wheel drive. This was the ultimate go-everywhere little fire truck in the mini pumper business in its day. The Euclid plant got sold to a German company, and so General Motors transferred ownership of this little truck to various GM facilities throughout Ohio. In the end, GM Canada has a trim factory, had a trim factory in Parma, Ohio, and this was the facility fire truck there. And when they decided it was surplus property, they offered it up for auction through their employees at the facility. And a gentleman who worked there was the successful bidder. He bought the truck, enjoyed it for a little while, and then went on to sell it to the fella in Scottsdale, who is a NAPCO 4-wheel drive collector. I have the pedigree of this truck from being in the Blitz Buggy Bulletin when they had featured this truck going to the Euclid plant, to the Darley pump test, or W.S. Darley, the fire pump manufacturer, to the title, the history, and all the ownership, all the years of that truck till it went to Scottsdale, Arizona. And then again, the history of the Blitz Buggy fire truck, signed by the Brussels boys, Al and Robert. And I'm certainly hoping that they're watching today. We could talk a lot about mini pumpers and a lot about fire trucks. We collect 4-wheel drive fire trucks. We've got quite a few of them here. But suffice to say that after the Blitz Buggy Company, Army Armstrong went and started one more called Little Mo. And those were primarily on Dodge Power Wagon chassis. And Little Mo contract and name got bought by another fire company you may recognize, fire apparatus company called American LaFrance. And we also have one of the nicest Little Mo's in existence over in the other barn, and one day we'll feature that one as well. But here we have Adirondack history, we have General Motors history, we've got a true survivor with 4,300 miles on it. And we want to dedicate today's Toy in the Real McCoy to all those that serve in the fire service and have served in the fire service, and for those that have given their life in the fire service. Thank you. We're forever in your debt. Have a great day. Share this if you would. We'll be back to you next week with a tractor that's yet to be unnamed, but we'll tell you what it is sometime during the week. Thanks a lot. Share it if you would. Have a great day, and God bless you all.